Do you think the 1987 film Predator is just another action movie from the 80s? A simple story about commandos fighting an alien in the jungle? What if I told you it's much more disturbing? This film isn't just entertainment, it's a carefully crafted warning meant to prepare us for something the government can't openly discuss. Our story begins in 1968, deep in the jungles of Vietnam. A special forces unit led by Captain Richard Hollister disappeared during a routine extraction mission. While disappearances in wartime aren't unusual, what happened next was extraordinary. 3 days later, 7 elite soldiers were found hanging from trees, completely skinned. Their weapons remained untouched, and no enemy forces were nearby. The official report blamed Viet Cong guerrillas, but classified notes from the field surgeon, kept secret until 1998, told a different story. No human tool could make such precise cuts, hinting at a mechanical cause. The bodies had been fully drained of blood, with no sign of where it went. 2 weeks later, a 3-man reconnaissance team was sent to the same area. They never returned. Search teams found only a single dog tag belonging to Private James Elkins, which was partially melted in a way that metallurgists at Fort Detrick couldn't connect to any known weapon. These incidents were buried in classified files, seemingly forgotten, or at least that was the plan. In 1972, a similar event occurred in Cambodia. 5 soldiers who had split from their unit were found in a clearing, skinned and hanging, their spinal columns and skulls removed with surgical precision. A local villager claimed to see lights like angry fireflies in the jungle the night before and noticed a shadow bending the trees as it moved through the canopy. The villager disappeared 3 days later. By 1975, the Pentagon had compiled a classified dossier codenamed Forest Hunter, documenting 13 similar incidents across Southeast Asia. Each followed a consistent pattern: elite military units in remote locations, bodies displayed in trees, specific organs removed. Witnesses reported unusual heat signatures, strange lights, and distortions in the jungle canopy. Every detailed witness account ended with the individual either dead or missing within a week. Dr. Eleanor Frakes, a forensic anthropologist consulted by DARPA, looked at photographic evidence from 3 incidents. Her report, declassified only in 2011 due to an incorrectly filed FOIA request, concluded that these were not human kills. The pattern indicated hunting trophies. Something was collecting specimens. Just 3 days after submitting her report, Dr. Frakes was killed in what was ruled a home invasion. Nothing was taken, and the intruder seemed only interested in her files. The pattern lay dormant for almost a decade, collecting dust in Pentagon archives. Then, in 1982, a unit from CIA-backed Guatemalan Special Forces went missing during an operation against insurgents in the northern Petén jungle. 2 weeks later, a farmer stumbled upon their remains. 8 men skinned and hanging from ancient ceiba trees, their weapons still in their hands, unfired. The farmer reported seeing a glass-like demon moving through the trees the night before, but Guatemalan authorities dismissed his story as superstition. The farmer and his family vanished 3 days later. Thomas Schaefer, the CIA officer assigned to investigate, found unusual tracks near the site. These were 3-toed impressions, each over 20 inches long, that seemed to appear and disappear as if whatever made them had leapt from the trees or soared into the sky. His report noted an eerie silence in the jungle, devoid of birds, insects, or any life within half a mile. When Schaefer sought permission to widen his investigation, he was recalled to Langley.
His personnel file later revealed that he took early retirement 3 months later and retreated to a secluded cabin in Alaska. Tragically, he was found dead in 1984, ruled an apparent suicide. His sister discovered his journal, filled with hundreds of pages detailing the hunter and increasingly paranoid notes about feeling watched at night. Then came 1985, a pivotal moment. A helicopter carrying a Dutch Special Forces team crashed in the remote jungles of Suriname, near the Brazilian border. When a search team reached the crash site 3 days later, they uncovered something too shocking to hide. 4 bodies, skinned and hanging from the trees, while 3 others were completely missing. The helicopter itself was intact, showing no signs of mechanical failure or conventional weapon fire. The Dutch government demanded answers. Major Alan Schaefer, unrelated to Thomas, led the U.S. military investigation team, accompanied by CIA liaison George Dillon. Both were seasoned in jungle warfare. Their official mission was to find out if Soviet-backed insurgents were in the region. However, documents later found in Dillon's personal safe indicated their true mission was to confirm or deny forest hunter activity. Neither Schaefer nor Dillon returned. The 7-man team sent to find them also vanished. What happened in that jungle was too significant to suppress. Too many personnel were lost, and too many questions arose from Dutch officials. The Pentagon needed to manage the situation. Enter John McTiernan, a young director eager to make his mark in Hollywood. In September 1985, producer Joel Silver approached him with a script titled Hunter, claiming it came to him through unusual channels. The screenplay, initially credited to Jim and John Thomas, underwent extensive rewrites by uncredited military technical advisors.
The production moved with alarming speed for Hollywood, securing filming locations in Mexico through dubious diplomatic means. Military equipment was provided with minimal documentation, raising eyebrows. According to anonymous production assistants, certain scenes, especially those depicting the skinned bodies hanging from trees, were storyboarded even before McTiernan was hired. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the film's star, later recalled something unsettling during a little-known interview in 1998 with a German film magazine. He noted military advisors everywhere, showcasing very specific details about how the bodies should look and hang, details that were far too specific. When he inquired about the sources of these references, the advisors changed the subject. One night after filming, one of them, inebriated, confided to him, "This isn't a movie, it's a warning." Schwarzenegger has never repeated this story and has denied making such comments when questioned. The film Predator premiered in 1987, cleverly disguised as science fiction entertainment. It contained elements that aligned with classified forest hunter files, such as heat vision technology, movement through treetops, trophy collection, spine removal, and the infamous 3-dot targeting system. The detail about the 3-dot targeting system is particularly disturbing, as it wasn't documented in any public records before the film debuted. However, it aligns perfectly with descriptions from Thomas Schaefer's journal and a sketch from Dr. Frakes' files. Was Predator just a film, or was it a covert message from the military revealing a truth too horrifying to confront openly? Let's look at the facts that surfaced after the film's release. In 1989, a British SAS team vanished during a counterinsurgency operation in Sierra Leone. Their remains were found displayed in a manner eerily similar to those depicted in the movie. The British government then classified all records of this incident until 2055.
Then, in 1991, during Operation Desert Storm, 3 U.S. Marine Corps Force Recon scouts disappeared while on a night patrol near the Kuwait-Iraq border. Their thermal imaging gear was found melted in a pattern identical to the damage described in the Forest Hunter files. Just 2 days later, their bodies were found, skinned and hanging from a water tower. The official explanation attributed it to Iraqi special forces, even though no Iraqi troops were present in that area. The Marine who stumbled upon the bodies, Sergeant Carlos Ramirez, immediately requested a transfer. Following his tragic suicide in 2004, his family released personal correspondence where he expressed, "It wasn't human. I saw it moving across the desert like heat waves bending the air, but shaped like a man. Too tall, too fast. I fired at it. My bullets hit nothing. It looked at me. 3 red dots appeared on my chest."
Then it moved away. It let me live. I don't know why. These unsettling incidents continued in Somalia in 1993, Colombia in 1997, and Afghanistan in 2002, each carefully obscured within the turmoil of conventional warfare. Yet the most compelling evidence originates from the film industry itself. In 1996, screenwriter Shane Black, who had previously acted in the original Predator, was brought in to work on a sequel. During his script research, he sought access to the original production notes. What he uncovered alarmed him enough to alter his screenplay significantly, incorporating elements suggesting multiple predator species and an organized hunting culture. An assistant who worked with Black revealed that he received unusual late-night calls during this time. After one such call, Black confided to his assistant, "They're telling me what I can and cannot include. These aren't studio notes." The caller identified himself as part of the Department of Defense. Predator 2, released in 1990, expanded the film's mythology in ways that felt strangely specific. It explored the creature's fascination with heat and conflict zones, and its habit of collecting skulls from various species, implying an ongoing presence on Earth across centuries. When director Stephen Hopkins discussed the film years later, he recalled being shown reference materials by technical advisors that were far from the usual Hollywood fare. They contained detailed descriptions of trophy-taking behavior and specific methods for skinning and displaying kills. When he inquired about the source of this information, he was told it was based on actual field observations, which he initially assumed were drawn from wildlife studies. Now he was not so sure. By the early 2000s, the pattern had evolved. The Predator franchise transformed into a vehicle for concealing truths right in front of us, updating the public on new information while maintaining plausible deniability. The 2004 film Alien vs. Predator introduced the idea that these entities had visited Earth throughout human history. This notion aligned with recent archaeological findings in Cambodia, Guatemala, and Egypt that contained unusual hieroglyphs depicting tall, masked figures with tendrils emerging from their heads, seemingly hunting humans. Mainstream archaeology dismissed these images as representations of tribal shamans or deities. However, carbon dating revealed that these images from disparate continents were created within the same 100-year period, around 3000 BCE. A statistical improbability without contact among these civilizations or a common origin. Dr. William Myers, who studied these images, published a paper proposing they illustrated an actual contact event with non-human entities. His academic career abruptly ended shortly thereafter, and he vanished while conducting research in Brazil in 2005.
His remains were never found, but his camera was recovered, containing a final image showing 3 red dots arranged in a triangular pattern on the wall of his tent. The most disturbing connection surfaced in 2008 when NASA's thermal imaging satellites detected an anomalous heat signature in the remote Congo basin. A special forces team was dispatched under the guise of an anti-poaching operation. They lost satellite communication for 72 hours. When contact was re-established, only one soldier, Corporal Rebecca Wilkins, was found alive. Her debriefing remains classified, but a leaked medical report from 2012 documented unusual radiation burns on her skin and a pattern of 3 circular scars on her forehead. Her psychological evaluation indicated severe PTSD and repeated references to them watching us for sport. Wilkins was discharged for medical reasons and relocated to a remote town in Alaska, the same place where Thomas Schaefer had lived years earlier. In 2010, she granted a single interview to a documentary filmmaker exploring isolated communities. When asked why she chose such a secluded location, her chilling answer was, "They don't hunt here. It's too cold. They see in heat. If they can't see you, they can't hunt you." The documentary was never completed. The filmmaker disappeared while returning from Alaska, leaving behind his equipment, but the memory cards were gone. The most recent confirmed incident occurred in 2018 in Venezuela, when a group of British petroleum engineers went missing near the Colombian border. Search teams located their camp intact, with operational equipment and warm food, but no signs of struggle. 2 kilometers away, their bodies were found, skinned and hanging from trees, with their skulls and spines removed. Venezuelan authorities blamed drug cartels, but leaked autopsy reports detailed non-conventional incisions made by an unidentified tool capable of cutting through bone without causing microfractures or pressure damage, matching descriptions from the 1968 field surgeon's notes from Vietnam. In 2022, the Pentagon quietly formed a new division within Special Operations Command, tasked with investigating and countering unconventional tactical threats in remote areas. Its unofficial name, according to internal documents, is Hunter Response Team. This division recruits from elite units across all branches, with unusual selection criteria focusing on extensive experience in night operations, advanced thermal countermeasure training, and psychological profiles indicating high adaptability to impossible scenarios. Meanwhile, Hollywood continued weaving these truths into fiction. The 2010 film Predators introduced the idea of an alien game preserve where humans were collected for hunting.
This detail resonated with survivor accounts describing a sensation of being observed as if they were animals in a zoo before being attacked. The 2018 film The Predator suggested genetic modifications and an evolution of the hunters, coinciding with classified reports describing variant entities with different physical characteristics from earlier encounters. Each film adds to the puzzle, revealing what authorities know but cannot openly acknowledge. This brings us to the present. In December 2025, the pattern is accelerating. In the past 18 months, 7 documented disappearances of military and paramilitary units have occurred across 5 continents. These events exhibit familiar signatures, heat anomalies, unusual atmospheric disturbances, and bodies displayed as trophies. What is notably different now is the scale. The hunters are becoming bolder, capturing larger groups.
The latest incident in the Amazon involved 17 Brazilian environmental protection officers. Even more alarming are the reports of evolutionary changes. Survivors are now mentioning multiple types of hunters working in coordinated groups. Their technology has advanced, their trophy-taking has become more selective, and they are learning, adapting, and studying us. The information control is breaking down. There are too many incidents, too many witnesses, and too many connections for those willing to see. The fiction can no longer mask the truth. Consider what I've shared, the decade-spanning pattern, the specific details hidden in plain sight through cinematic productions, the missing researchers and witnesses, and the consistent wound patterns and display methods. Reflect on the government units specifically created to respond to these encounters. So why am I telling you this? Knowledge serves as protection. The hunters operate in the shadows, preying on targets who are unaware and unprepared. They thrive on the thrill of the hunt, enjoying the challenge of pursuing prey that recognizes them. But there's something even more troubling at play. The hunters don't just observe, they analyze our reactions to their hunts, our fear, and our understanding. They monitor our communications, our entertainment, and our discussions about them, which means they might be watching this right now. They are assessing your response to this information, whether you dismiss it as mere fiction or recognize the truth, whether you are worthy prey or too easily frightened. Every comment you leave, every reaction you share, and every discussion you engage in regarding this topic is being collected as data, refining their understanding of human psychology. These films were not just warnings to us, they were messages to them, saying, "We know you're here, we understand what you're doing, some of us are ready to fight." The hunters respect worthy adversaries. They follow a code, evident in consistent patterns across encounters spanning centuries. They refrain from killing the unarmed or the sick, collecting trophies only from the strongest and most dangerous prey. Occasionally, they spare those who demonstrate exceptional courage or cunning. This explains why Dutch survived in the original film, not just as a Hollywood ending, but as documentation of actual hunter behavior observed in real encounters. The character's survival strategy, covering himself in mud to mask his heat signature and setting traps using the environment, mirrors the tactics that saved Rebecca Wilkins in the Congo. So what comes next? What should you do with this information? First, understand that these encounters follow patterns. They typically occur in remote locations and target armed groups, military units, or well-equipped expeditions. If you're reading this in an urban area, your risk is minimal. Second, they hunt by heat signature. Thermal masking works. This is not fiction, it's documented across multiple survivor accounts. Third, and most crucial, they are watching for those who comprehend, those who see beyond the fiction to the truth, and those who might present worthy challenges. If you've made it to the end of this video and absorbed this information without dismissing it, you're already on their radar. This is where most would encourage you to like and subscribe or share this video with others. I'm asking you to do the opposite. If you grasp what I've conveyed, if you recognize the pattern, say nothing, share nothing, leave no digital trace of your awareness. Comment only with something like, "just another movie," to signal to others like you. The hunters respect worthy prey, but they eliminate threats to their sport. Every researcher who got too close to the truth has vanished, and every witness who spoke too clearly is gone. I've gathered this information at great personal risk. By the time you see this, I will have moved to a place with minimal heat signatures, deep underground, far from wireless signals and surveillance. Remember, they don't just hunt with their eyes, they monitor our communications and are alert for those who watch them. One last thought. The next time you feel unusually warm at night, see 3 small red dots on your wall, hear sounds on your roof, or sense something watching you just beyond the light, remember what you've learned. They aren't myths, they aren't just movies, they are here, hunting and watching, and now they know that you know. The film Predator introduced the idea that these mysterious beings have been visiting Earth throughout our history. This idea aligns with discoveries at archaeological sites in Cambodia, Guatemala, and Egypt between 1998 and 2002. Each site features strange hieroglyphs and drawings showing tall, masked figures with tendrils from their heads, seemingly hunting humans. However, mainstream archaeologists dismissed these findings, claiming they represented tribal shamans or deities.
Yet carbon dating revealed that these images, found across different continents, originated within the same 100-year period around 3000 BCE. This presents a statistical impossibility unless these civilizations had contact with each other or shared a common source. Dr. William Myers, who studied these images, published a paper suggesting they indicated actual encounters with non-human entities. Shortly after this, his career took a drastic turn. He vanished during a research trip in Brazil in 2005. Though his body was never found, his camera was recovered, with the last image showing 3 red dots forming a triangle on the wall of his tent. The most alarming connection came in 2008 when NASA's thermal imaging satellites detected an unusual heat signature in the remote Congo basin. A special forces team was sent under the guise of an anti-poaching operation. For 72 hours, satellite communication was lost. When contact was re-established, only one soldier, Corporal Rebecca Wilkins, was alive. Details of her debriefing remain classified, but a medical report leaked in 2012 revealed strange radiation burns on her skin and 3 circular scars on her forehead. Her psychological assessment indicated severe PTSD and frequent mentions of being observed for sport. Wilkins was discharged for medical reasons and relocated to a remote town in Alaska, the same place where Thomas Schaefer had lived years earlier. In 2010, she gave a rare interview to a filmmaker exploring isolated communities. When asked why she chose such a secluded place, her chilling response was, "They don't hunt here. It's too cold. They see in heat. If they can't see you, they can't hunt you." Unfortunately, the documentary was never completed as the filmmaker disappeared on his way back from Alaska, with his equipment found in his hotel room, but all memory cards missing. The most recent confirmed incident occurred in 2018 in Venezuela. A group of British petroleum engineers went missing near the Colombian border. Search teams found their campsite intact, with operational equipment and warm food, yet no signs of struggle. 2 kilometers away, they discovered the bodies, skinned and hanging from trees, with their skulls and spines removed. Venezuelan authorities attributed the incident to drug cartels, but leaked autopsy reports described unusual incisions made by an unidentified tool capable of cutting through bone without causing microfractures or pressure damage. This same description is found in the field surgeon's notes from Vietnam in 1968. In 2022, the Pentagon quietly established a new division within Special Operations Command. Officially, its purpose is to investigate and counter unconventional tactical threats in remote environments. Internally, this division is referred to as the Hunter Response Team. It recruited personnel from elite units across all branches of the military. The selection criteria were striking:
extensive experience in night operations, advanced training in thermal countermeasures, and notably, psychological profiles indicating a high capacity for adapting to impossible scenarios. Hollywood has continued to reveal hidden truths through fiction. The film Predators, released in 2010, introduced the unsettling idea of an alien game preserve where humans were captured and hunted. This concept resonated with survivor accounts, where individuals described the eerie sensation of being watched like animals in a zoo just before an attack. In 2018, The Predator explored ideas of genetic modification and the evolution of the hunters, coinciding with classified reports of varied entities showing different physical traits from earlier encounters. Notably, this film presented the idea of these predators taking DNA from their conquered prey, a detail mirrored in a classified 2016 DNA analysis of unusual tissue samples found at a killing site in Myanmar. Each film meticulously pieces together a puzzle, revealing insights that authorities seem unable to address openly. Now we find ourselves in December 2025, and the pattern of these incidents is accelerating. Over the past 18 months, 7 documented disappearances of military and paramilitary units have been reported in remote locations across 5 continents. These incidents exhibit familiar signatures such as heat anomalies, unusual atmospheric disturbances, and bodies displayed as trophies. What sets this apart is the increasing scale of the hunters' operations. They are becoming bolder and are now taking larger groups. The most recent incident in the Amazon involved 17 Brazilian environmental protection officers. Even more alarming are the evolutionary changes reported by survivors, who now describe multiple types of hunters working in coordinated groups. Their technology appears to have advanced, and their methods of trophy collection have become more selective, indicating that they are learning, adapting, and studying us. The veil of information control is fraying. There are simply too many incidents, too many witnesses, and too many connections for those willing to look deeper. The fiction, once crafted to contain the truth, can no longer do so. Consider the patterns that have stretched across decades, the detailed elements woven into Hollywood productions, the researchers and witnesses who have mysteriously disappeared, and the consistent methods of displaying bodies. These elements all point to the existence of government units specifically assigned to respond to such encounters. Why share this information? Because knowledge serves as protection. The hunters operate in shadows, targeting those who are unaware and unprepared. They thrive on the thrill of the hunt, relishing the challenge that comes when their prey recognizes them as predators. However, there's a more disturbing aspect to their behavior. The hunters don't merely observe, they analyze our reactions to their hunts, our fears, and our understanding. They monitor our communications, our entertainment, and our discussions about them, which means they might be watching this very moment. They're evaluating how you process this information, whether you dismiss it as mere fiction or grasp its underlying truth, whether you are deemed worthy prey or easily frightened. Every comment you make, every reaction you share, and every discussion you engage in about this topic is data they collect, helping them refine their understanding of human psychology. These films serve not just as warnings to us, they are messages intended for them. They convey an awareness of their presence, expressing that we know they are here and understand their motives. Some among us are prepared to resist. The hunters hold respect for worthy adversaries, adhering to a code evident in their consistent patterns of behavior observed over centuries. They do not target the unarmed or the weak. They seek trophies only from the strongest and most formidable prey. Occasionally, they spare those who show exceptional courage or cunning. This is what allowed Dutch to survive in the original film. In essence, the narrative continues to unfold, compelling us to recognize the truth behind what has long been portrayed as mere entertainment. Not merely a Hollywood finale, but an authentic portrayal of how hunters behave during real encounters. The way the character survives by covering himself in mud to hide his heat signature and setting traps from his surroundings reflects the actual strategies that saved Rebecca Wilpins in the Congo. So, what's next? How should you interpret this information? First, recognize that these encounters follow distinct patterns. They typically occur in remote areas, targeting armed groups, military units, security forces, and well-equipped expeditions. If you're reading this from an urban environment, your risk is low. Second, they hunt based on heat signatures. Thermal masking is effective. This isn't just fiction, it's supported by numerous survivor accounts. Most importantly, they're observing those who comprehend the situation, who can see beyond the fiction to the reality, and who might pose worthy challenges. If you've watched this video until the end and absorbed the information without dismissal, you're already on their radar. At this point, most would suggest liking and subscribing to share this video. I'm suggesting the opposite. If you understand what I've shared and recognize the pattern, keep it to yourself. Do not share anything. Leave no digital trace of your awareness. Comment only with phrases like "just another movie" to mask your understanding while signaling to others who may know.
The hunters have respect for worthy prey, but eliminate threats to their sport. Every researcher who got too close to the truth has vanished, and every witness who spoke too clearly is gone. I've gathered this information at great personal risk. By the time you read this, I will have moved to a location with minimal heat signatures, deep underground, and away from wireless signals or surveillance. Remember, they don't just hunt with their eyes, they monitor our communications and watch for those who notice them. One last thought. The next time you feel an unusual warmth at night, spot 3 tiny red dots on your wall, hear sounds on your roof, or sense something lurking in the shadows just beyond the light, remember what you've learned. They're not myths, they're not just movies. They are here, hunting, watching, and now they know that you know. Just another movie.